a lot of times I am talking about this Bitcoin chart kind of acting as a roadmap for the rest of crypto. This is a Bitcoin daily chart on the short term right now, kind of offering us some gems, some targets that I really want to discuss. So we're talking about Bitcoin as a roadmap for the rest of crypto. Well, what's next? If we have the roadmap, what is potentially next? I have some indicators and confirmations that I'm waiting on this daily chart. So please hit the subscribe, hit the like button on your way in. Your support means a ton. Let's jump into the video. This is Bitcoin on the daily. Before I even show that, I want to show a little bit of different perspective on things, crypto markets in general, because whether you hold Bitcoin or not, this video, what happens next in this cycle for Bitcoin, it pretty much dictates what happens next for crypto, whatever you hold, any altcoin that you hold. This is a total market cap chart for crypto going back to like 2014 or so. These yellow lines are the Bitcoin halvings. I want to point something to your attention. A lot of people are kind of like, man, this might be it. This might be the end of the little bull run that happened. We're at the end. But another perspective on the 2017 consolidation 2016 consolidation around the 2016 Bitcoin halving, this is just such a clear perspective. You can just see a couple red months on total market cap of crypto, meaning the general market cap of crypto falling at that time. But what happened next? It continued into a bull cycle. And then even last cycle, 1 month after the Bitcoin halving here, there was some consolidation on that monthly chart. And then, crypto markets made a move to the upside. Now here we are. Last month was a red monthly candle. Right now we have a green monthly candle in formation. There's still 25 days left, but we'll monitor. We'll see. This could even be a red month. We could end red here, and it would be normal from historical perspective. I wanted to just show you that because now we start looking at Bitcoin on the zoomed in. We have so much happening here, but I want to very simply break it down. The foundation to kind of what we're looking at is the symmetrical triangle, the consolidation that took place for Bitcoin after getting very overheated and overextended. Right off the bat, I want to mention there's a target to the lower 50,000s, right? $52,000, $53,000 to the downside. That's still a target. Bitcoin broke out of the symmetrical triangle right here in April. Now, here's where we get these gems, these short-term targets, these short-term confirmation areas. And right now, I'm just very neutral in terms of what I think will happen next for Bitcoin. I have no idea what's going to happen next for Bitcoin or crypto, but this is why I do the charts. Let's zoom in a little bit and see what's going on here. I'll show you exactly what I mean. Clearly, from really the swing high back here, it's been lower highs, right? So lower high, lower high, lower high. What I want to point out right now is if you're looking at these lower highs, you can see from this swing high here to swing low, that kind of break down out of that symmetrical triangle, you can see swing high to swing low, this pullback right below the lower high Fibonacci. This move, right? The dip and then the bounce. The Fibonacci, the lower high Fibonacci, when I'm doing my technical analysis, is always that range that I'm waiting to see. Is this a fake bounce or is this real? And the confirmation I really wait for is does it approach the Fibonacci range? In this case, that was around 67,000 at the 618 to around 69,000, around 70,000 at the 786. Does it make its way into the range and break above that range? Or is it a lower high at the lower high Fibonacci? You can see that was a lower high at the lower high Fibonacci. We went lower. We're in a very similar bounce now. So if I look at the newly updated Fibonacci, right? So swing high from that resistance that we just looked at to the new swing low, another bounce in formation right now for Bitcoin. Bitcoin making a little bit more of a power move to the actual range, right? You can see it testing even the upper range at the 786. That was around 65,000, but not breaking above it. And this is the confirmation area that I'm waiting for. On the daily chart, you can just see Bitcoin truly contesting with this entire range. And right now we're in kind of this daily candle. It is red. There's a few hours left of the daily candle. Probably is going to close red. You can see briefly it was trying to test and break out of that Fibonacci range. How does Bitcoin, and here's where things get interesting. These are the gems. How does Bitcoin interact now with this 20-day moving average, which is almost perfectly confluent with the 618 of that Fibonacci range and the 50-day moving average? So a couple things going on with that. If we're opening up the chart and we look at the RSI, I want to point out a sign of hopium for you hopium enthusiasts is the fact that this downtrend on the RSI currently has kind of been broken, right? That little downtrend right there. There's no guarantee that this is flipping and the RSI will start going bullish, but we might start seeing higher highs and higher lows on the RSI as Bitcoin might even consolidate for a few more days, sideways, maybe even down just a little. How does Bitcoin look like on the RSI? And are we going to start seeing some bullish divergence? That could be the second bullish confirmation, right? So we're waiting to see if Bitcoin can break above the 786 around 65,000, but we're also waiting to see what happens with this RSI currently. If I zoom out on the daily, I want to show you something. I think I talked about in the last video for Bitcoin, this move to the downside, Bitcoin falling, it's just a normal move. It's such a normal move in any market, let alone a bull market. Here's the last dip that Bitcoin had. Bitcoin just falling 21%. And then we kind of went through all of these dips. These were higher high to higher low dips, really, for Bitcoin since exiting the bear market. And you can see all of these. What I want to show you is if you just look at the last time, right, this last one, Bitcoin dipping, and you can even just see I have this Lux Algo indicator. This is the reversal zone for Lux Algo, just above that green zone, and then making a move to the upside. And you can see it got overextended in the red zone and needed to consolidate to the downside. Similar things have happened with the Lux Algo indicator this time around. Now, if we look at this though, what else is happening here? And this is kind of where we are right now. And another area that kind of, I would say, gives a little confidence in terms of using these indicators. And this is just simply true for all of technical analysis, no matter what chart you're looking at. But in this kind of very similar environment, meaning swing high to swing low, and then bouncing back up and contending between the 20 in green and the 50 in blue. Look at that. That's like a week. Bitcoin was like, what is it going to do? Is it going to break above, or is it going to see resistance and fall below? We are in a very similar area right now. So we looked at the Fibonacci, the lower high Fibonacci in that green area, just such a perfectly confluent area of resistance with those moving averages. And look at it. Now Bitcoin is in this move. Maybe not so here, right? Because the 20 just crossed below the 50. It still needed to kind of maybe see some momentum to the downside. But right now, Bitcoin is in a move where it truly can do what it did in that previous swing low that we looked at. And that is to say, maybe it consolidates within the 50 in blue, the 20 in green, and then continues to upside. But again, we have to wait and monitor these areas. But the key area, as you can very clearly see, is the lower high Fibonacci on this daily chart. And again, that is about 63,000, let's call it, to around 65,000, that range. And we're within it right now. Which way does Bitcoin break? I think that will answer a lot of questions and really give a sense on the short term. We talk about Bitcoin as a roadmap. This could give a sense of the next move. We might have another leg down, but I want to talk about that. If Bitcoin does see the resistance here at this range, maybe it tries to pop up against one more time and then it falls. Well, we'll obviously watch the upper trend line of this rising wedge, huge rising wedge that goes pretty much to the bear market exit, right? Target to the upside still in play, 85,000. Right now, we had the breakout in February. We're in the middle of this throwback to the wedge. Let's watch that upper trend line, see if there's support. But furthermore, on top of that, even if Bitcoin were to fall to the target out of this symmetrical triangle, if I show you the symmetrical triangle, even if it falls, right? Here's the breakout to the downside. Nice pullback, just textbook looking, another lower low, a nice little bounce that we're in right now. If it continues falling, right? The lower 50s. I just want to say, in that environment, Bitcoin, and you can see where this reversal zone even is for the Lux Algo indicator, Bitcoin will be kind of very oversold, right? And it will be very interesting to see what the RSI is doing on the daily. So even if it makes a move to the downside, that could be the bottom of this move. And I just want to say something. If the move happens, and this kind of brings the story together, for me at least, if the move does happen, there's resistance here, we fall lower, we put in another lower low, well, maybe we get actual bullish divergence with a higher low on the RSI on that move in the coming days, however it happens, if it happens. That move right there, if it was to fall into the lower 50s, that would bring us in such a similar environment to what happened in 2016 at that halving. And you go to the weekly chart, just look at this. Bitcoin has already, if you look at this weekly, has already tested this area, this Fibonacci bull market door area in yellow. That wick last week, insane. But if we go back to 2017, right? And you can just see this was after 2016 halving. There's that move at the halving. But check this out. The move even months after the halving, Bitcoin testing that very similar Fibonacci bull market door area. So we might be getting the best of these dips. That is to say, similar move, 2016 halving, similar move, bull market doors after the Bitcoin halving. Those two things might just very simply be happening right now on Bitcoin's chart. And what did Bitcoin do next? So Bitcoin can fall lower. What did Bitcoin do next after both of those moves? Those were higher low moves, and then Bitcoin went pretty crazy, right? You can just see it there. There's that dip at the halving. Here's this dip, the bull market doors. Bitcoin went crazy. And now here we are. We have two of the very similar dips happening, Bitcoin halving dip as well as bull market door dip. And there's room to downside. All the while, that 20-week moving average right there to be tested if it wants to be once again. You can see this last week tested it already. And that might have been it. But short term, we'll get the idea of, are we going to see another leg down or not? I think on the daily with all these things that we just talked about. So on the short term, these are all the things I am watching. So it will be very interesting on the very short term. I'm talking about like when I'm uploading this video, Bitcoin right there at the 20-day moving average, the lower side of that Fibonacci retracement, right around 63,000, 63,300. A couple $100 away from where Bitcoin is right now. That'll be the first interesting area. Can Bitcoin hold support above it, or are we falling lower? And do we have to start anticipating the downside? If Bitcoin breaks the Fibonacci to the upside, it's for another video. That's what I'm watching though. That's that first bullish confirmation. I'll do another video if it happens. The 50-day just above it could be a little bit of a spoiler. Maybe Bitcoin makes a move to the upside and then fails just at the 50, but that will be the next big area just above that area. But we'll monitor it. If it happens, we'll cover it and we'll start talking about targets to the upside if we're getting an actual bullish reversal. So hit the subscribe, everybody. I appreciate you cruising through. Hit the like button if you enjoyed or got any value out of this video. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.